Mail call on 100.5 WWKI and online at
I'm a very lonely man.
You want smacked?
I have nothing to contribute to this conversation.
Some serious wood is going to be out here.
Be able to get you, but I will get your family.
Puts 5 minutes. Puts 5 minutes.
You are some messed up wife.
Hey, bud. Let's party.
Had to do it, didn't he?
I had to.
Yeah. 15. Have you written 14 yet this year?
Actually, I got 15 on the log this morning.
You did it right?
Yeah.
I did it twice wrong yesterday, and I even told myself, it's cold out, guys.
Oh, you just wait.
Well, now I know we have like a wintry mix headed this way.
It's going to be 50 tomorrow, though.
Is it?
No, never mind. It's going to rain.
That's what I love about Indiana weather. You can't go a couple more than 2 days out without knowing what's really going on.
Well,
because yesterday the whole forecast was this week. I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Well, I looked at the extended forecast, and it's conjecture, but the high next Wednesday,
nice.
5 below that night.
Yeah.
So
now, how was you guys' New Year's? What'd you guys do? I haven't talked to you.
It was good.
Wonderful.
I was in here yesterday morning.
Haven't slept through New Year's.
Well, as you and I
the
both
smothered
do
burrito, yeah.
So I went to Taco Bell at like 8 o'clock New Year's Eve in the
Real
evening.
rager.
Came home, and it's the IndyCar drop. Well, I went to bed at 9 o'clock because I'm such a party guy. Slept till 2 a.m.
Wow.
So I missed Dick Clark for Rockin' Eve. I missed everything.
And you missed Bill on here yesterday with me.
How was that for you?
Well, he had played in Lafayette, and I had a nice evening out with some friends, and I went home and, and enjoyed myself. And I came in here yesterday morning with the lights out, but with her whole family, and then Maria was in here. But we had a good first day of January. I had a lot of fun in here. We were all kind of a little off kilt and goofy, but, it was fun. It's hard to... It's so strange. 2015.
I know.
I remember when I was a kid watching the movie 2010: A Space Odyssey thinking, wow, the future. And here I am in my 40s feeling like pretty old. But anyway, we had a good time. I watched a lot of different music on the Rockin' Eve. Did you guys get to watch that? Lindsay, what'd you guys do?
Small house.
It was so much fun. We had an absolute blast. Like, we had balloons that I filled with confetti, and then I numbered them whenever that half hour struck. I would go out to the garage and tell the kids, it's 9:30, and they'd all go find that balloon and try to pop it. It was hilarious. I'm with each other.
So you guys were inside, outside too, or a little bit of everything?
The garage was all heated, so that was kind of the kids' area because they were decorating, cooking this game called Game of Things, and that's where all the food and stuff was. So it was kind of both, and then.
Yeah, I know it was chilly.
We watched the IndyCar drop, but that was my fault. I started it, so I blame myself for all the mopping I had to do on New Year's Day. And, then they were the confetti ones. Like, you open them. Well, there was one box of Pop-Its, and I went to open the box. The kids could go do them outside, and they fell. It was good.
Well, good. So you had fun, though.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Our house was
and I didn't hear
wreck.
of anything horrible happen except for, you guys were talking about people shooting bullets and guns. Somebody called in yesterday and told us about that.
Yeah, I told you.
Imagine laying in your bed and all of a sudden a bullet comes down through your top of your roof. But
when I lay down at 9 o'clock New Year's Eve, it's not even midnight. Can't you wait till midnight?
I like how he says it because I'm such a party guy. I like how he says that.
Mm-hmm. Before we...
Really?
It's her birthday this week.
29 again.
You bet.
All right. Well, happy birthday, Karen. And, you guys' birthdays are all around holidays. So you guys get kind of sold out, with the holidays around. But you know what? Well, we got a lot of stuff going on now. This weekend, I'm going to be out at the gun show from 9 to 11. Can't stop out there. Also, the 17th and 18th, that Wild Indiana Outdoor Expo is going on. I'll be out there the 17th, and we're going to have everything.
Surfing.
Anything you think of. No, not surfing. But anyway, maybe some boogie board or something like that. Or some skiing, but water skiing. But as we get closer to that, that's going to be a lot of fun out there. And all we ask is that you have a happy new year, and thanks to all of you for a great year last year. I was going over today and did a year in review, and there's always that part you don't like to see is all the people we lost last year. I mean, from Robin Williams, quite a list. I'll go over that on my show a little later on today. But with us today, we have Indiana Hemp Industries Association with us once again. Now, Jamie was here not too long ago. Good. Now you got to get real close to the microphone. Now, when last time we had you guys in here, we were talking all things hemp, things that, how to make 2,000 uses.
It was very
to help save money,
educational.
and it was very educational. And we tried to get over that hump, which still happens when he plays a Spicoli riff, where people same thing, even though it's from the same family, it is not the same thing. One is used for industrial use and in your car doors and many different types of things that you wouldn't even realize will associate that. So you guys have really, really been trying, because I think one of the biggest points we made last time you were on the show, Jamie, was you were allowed to
That's correct. And importing it means importing it from other countries.
Exactly.
Coming from
So
China
therefore,
and
the money
Canada.
goes out the door.
That's correct. Educating and working, you guys, since we were here with you, it was November 5th, I believe.
Yes.
We had an event November 12th, and we have all along believed that cocoa from the manufacturing industry to agriculture. And
So Howard County, huge ag, so it's the county. So, and a lot of people, we had a lot of calls. How many calls I got? People saying, hey, when is this? I want to learn more about this. I'm a farmer. And, they were thinking like when we were talking about the cycles, like every 3 years to be answered. Now, you guys had a little get together over there right after you saw us. Now, how did that go? What did you guys do?
It went great. We were at Ivy Tech for screening and people, which is one reason we're back here today. From that event, we met the Fortune companies, the pitchers who are doing all the different buildings that they're doing, and their theory on deconstructing, reconstructing. They're not just developing. Plays into what we want for hemp and for Indiana are the building materials, both the hempcrete that we discussed and hemp fiber boards, and came out for that event.
Mm-hmm.
And we have had a lot of follow-up. And next week we go to Purdue. The DEA, some of you have probably heard that as pursuing the industrial hemp, trying to go after people.
Wow.
And
so it kind of frees you up a little bit.
It does. And Justin might be able to talk a little bit, and the seed commissioner. So next week we're going to get together, and as of right now, we are on track for getting hemp seed in through our pilot projects in the ground.
It was educational, and when Lindsay and all of us we were full of questions. Because I think when you came in, I think we all kind of thought the same thing. You think hemp, you think, hey, a bunch of hippies, 50,000 uses. Now, just to remind our listeners and people what this can be used for, give us a rundown of some of maybe the top 10 or top 10 things, and so many different things that save money, and how sturdy it can be and how many different ways you can use it.
And you brought in a brick. I mean, you can actually build a home with these. What are some of the items?
That's correct. Like you mentioned, hempcrete, and it has a lot of properties that are going to prove to be useful as far as it breathes. It's anti-flammable. It is, and of course, sustainable, and does not require the chemical processing. Items definitely are of what interests some of the local entities here in Kokomo.
To give folks a description of this brick, it looks just like the same. It seems like, but it's hard as a rock.
It is.
So I mean, I can see so many different uses for something like that to maybe save on, like you said, on just money-wise anyway.
That have already been built. And there's a residential facility in North Carolina specifically for people who have allergies and so forth, and this makes it doable. It's an extreme situation. So anyway, you've got that. What we like to say is fuel fiber food.
Okay.
For food, I know we brought in a lot of samples for you guys last time. That's a real easy one.
Yeah, those little chocolate-covered ones were pretty good.
Yeah.
And the granola bars, too.
Yeah, those are dangerous.
I guess hemp bars.
Yeah.
But they were... had the same effect as a granola bar.
And we have Foods Alive, who's one of our biggest sponsors in Waterloo, and those were some of the products we brought in. And they are, as a matter of fact, they'll be and also for sale, which will benefit us. All the proceeds go to us. As you guys know, we're grassroots, and our pennies are our own. Good Night at First Friday to come out. Fortune companies and Cents for Peace will be using their space, and it will be a great there. Various forms of hempcrete clothing, and that's Justin that's with me today. His company is Recreator.
Okay.
And I would like him, he can tell you a little bit about their company, because of advocacy and apparel. Okay,
well, I'll tell you what, Justin, we'll talk with you when we come back. We'll cover a lot more of this, folks. We're bringing out all things and all the ways that they can help our environment, save us money, and help us out as well. So let's go ahead and take a little break here on Mail Call. What we got?
Let's take to Mike and Eric. Watched a big game yesterday outside.
Yeah, disappointed. I was a little disappointed, but hey, it was a good game.
Yeah.
Hey, we lost it in the last 2 minutes.
You guys are talking about the hockey game. Oh, I was going to say, the football game. One of them was a blowout. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, well, that's what's great about holidays. You always get some done yesterday, so I didn't get to see much of that. But I noticed they were wearing a lot of sunglasses. It's hard to see on the ice when it's sunny out.
Yeah, they had to delay it a couple of times because of the sun, and Derek's like, when the sun goes away.
Yeah, exactly, because you can't even see anything. Yeah, your eyes are. They look like football players because they had the black.
There's a name for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, there is. And they make that.
Yeah, I guess that would be pretty tough to see the puck.
We got some good deals out here today, and we're going to be open to something that's almost brand spanking new. We got a special buyer's choice deal on this one here. It's a 2015 Dodge Journey Crossroad, all-wheel white with black leather seats, third-row seating, rear backup camera. It's loaded, sunroof, remote start, heated steering wheel even, guys. You get in there, you know how your hands.
Next week.
3-zone climate control. Yeah, it's getting cold. Winter's finally getting here. Security system. It's got an 8.4-inch touchscreen display for the $34,000 on sale for $26,980. So this is a great buy on a 15. Dodge Journey. Got some more we're going to talk about in a little bit cheaper here. I got a 13.5 that works out to be just around $200 a month. It's only got 14,000 miles, black granite, 28 city highway and fuel economy, 37 highway auto gallon, silver, only $12,495. It's your choice between 2012 Chevy Impalas. One's loaded up at $12,995, or again, one around $200 a month. And if your budget's a little tighter, I got a 2010 Malibu, sunroof, brand new tires, $10,995 to $89.95 for this 07 four-cylinder sedan. And one last one, an SS Chevy Impala with a 5. Great deal. It was 10. So these are some great buys, and you guys have a good week. I mean, let's get the doldrums off. Let's start the year right. Let's get another vehicle and get rolling.
Months of vehicles of all time.
Well, Christmas is behind you now.
Yeah, February last year. So it's that time, folks. Get out there and look around.
Take care of business. You guys know where we're at, guys.
See you, Mike.
You too, Mike.
Who told you we're plumbers?
How do you tell a bad plumber from a good one?
What do you know about plumbing?
Rooter, the good plumbers instead.
Who said you need brains to be a plumber?
We do. Call in the Roto-Rooter professionals to solve all of your plumbing.
And away go troubles down the drain.
Call 453-4050 today.
You're listening to MailCallWKI.com.
Gonna take a deep breath and hold it in, twirl you around till my head spins.
Kenny, with the concerts he's got lined up and the show he's got lined up, that is very possible. And he took a year off, so he's just pumped.
Oh, yeah.
Even Chase Rice and Brantley Gilbert and a bunch of different people playing with him. Jason, that's right. How did I forget him?
Nobody works harder than Kenny Chesney.
Yeah,
He did too, did I? I remember reading that.
Yeah.
Well, folks, in here we have our guest with us today, and on this chipper little Friday in here. It's a little cold out there, so bundle up if you. And we're talking about all the different uses and trying to get the word or the hemp crop. The things you can do with it, all the different fiber. That's what you said. That's kind of all the different things that is written to keep it simple. But now we have Justin with us. Justin, now tell us a little bit about your part in this one.
Well, with me, the whole hemp thing kind of came along while I was teaching in Indiana. I was teaching in Indianapolis at Brebeuf Jesuit High School at a private back in the TNH days. Yeah, good. And we had some friends that kind of came along and got interested in the company. And it took us a couple of years in Indianapolis of planning. And it's not so easy to find hemp materials and people that work with hemp. And so it takes making garments here in the United States, which is something that doesn't even really happen that much anymore. And so there were a few obstacles that we had to. Some friends and I just packed up from Indianapolis, and now we're just all living on a floor in Los Angeles and trying to make it.
Question about the clothing.
Yeah.
Can you give people an idea of how you guys are able to take something in the field and then turn it into clothing that people just styled?
Correct. I mean, hemp has a lot of great things as far as a fiber. It's antimicrobial, so it doesn't quite hold the smells that cotton does.
No, it's soft.
Yeah, and it's very, very soft.
What this shirt is?
Yeah, here,
Yes.
check it out. Yeah, it's like really
And also, I'm sure we talked a little bit about earlier when there are people, autistic children, certain types of people with certain types of illnesses or disorders that. Can this stuff help them?
Cotton has a lot of pesticides that are used on it while it's in the field, and a lot of those things actually make it onto your clothes. And sometimes for people, for hemp, you can actually grow it pretty easily organically, and so you don't have the need for all these pesticides, herbicides, and things. And so if you have strange skin rashes or things that are popping up, and sometimes even folks are getting physically ill if they keep the allergy for those natural fibers, because it's not petroleum based either, like polyesters and things, because they have a lot of the same chemicals that you're getting from a lot of the.
We got a website, something where they can find out more about it, on their own, because I find it interesting because, like you were saying, for pesticides in the field, all this adds up to money. I want to keep in, insisting that you understand this is not marijuana. This is hemp. Okay, there's a whole different type of thing, not to get high. Okay, because a lot of people try to associate the two. You hear the two, and they put it together. And even last time we talked for a half an hour, 45 minutes talking about. So I mean, we really, really want to make that clear to you. This is hemp. It is, And now, if you could, Justin, just give them a rundown. Explain clearer than for folks like me that's easy to understand.
Sure. So when we're talking about hemp, I heard one good example being feed corn. And say the corn that you're going to be serving on the table. So there's a corn that goes to animals, and humans aren't really going to consume it and use it for any
corn.
Sweet corn, yeah, exactly. And so you have different varieties of these plant families that have different outcomes. Just like you have different breeds of actually offers that to people. Marijuana is one of the things that it has, but also, and more predominantly, really, hemp. Hemp offers a.
It's the stalk more used than most of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like when we're making our shirts, essentially, the hemp that we use is mainly grown in China specifically. So they're pretty good at it by now. Much better than we are, certainly. And so basically, these stalks have fibers. The coarse fibers are big and strong and tough. You might make rope with that, whereas the very fine fibers, you could make a T-shirt, or make a hemp silk. Kind of our big trial for Recreator in our company is how do we make this more local? How do we bring this industry? A lot of that stuff has been sent overseas and mainly to Asia, but we want to prove that there's still consumer.
As much as a soil as we have in ag that we're capable of in this country, wow. I mean, the money it could save, and with the environment as well, of all the things that we're using and burning, and it's inevitable. So,
the profits that the farmers can make off of it too.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and I know it's good for that. And then I looked up a little something after you guys left. Somebody called in, and it was one of our World War II vets. He called in and said, "Jared, you wouldn't believe how much." They just stopped making it here. They were actually doing it here and overseas. They had places over there. They were doing it to provide soldiers with products they used for the war because it was inexpensive.
Exactly. And something that we could probably learn from in that the Chinese military, it's that important to them.
Wow.
And so they put a big focus on that. And it leads to clothes that last longer, and they don't have to wash their clothes. Just the types of resources that we use and what those actually require from us. To keep them up, to keep them clean, what have you. But
I mean, a gig bag made out of hemp, and I put it in my guitar, and I got to tell you, it's one of the softest gig bags ever. And it's nice because it covers it, it carries it, it's not a big gug. Put it in her guitar because it's just nice. And like I said, it's soft. And the nice thing is, with the fiber that it's made out of, it almost like dusts the guitar type, a bag where it kind of can scratch it sometimes or collect little burrs or strings or metal. It actually kind of cleaned it a little bit. And here I'm. That's what the whole gig bag is made out of that. So when you slide it, it's like a sock as opposed to a vinyl bag that's going to, maybe scratch it up a little bit. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Well, 2015 is bringing out a lot of different laws, and of course the General Assembly has their new session coming up. Now, are there any in 2015?
Not for Indiana.
Okay.
Right now, we are on track to do our pilot projects, seed in the ground in spring. The next step is that we do need to expand our law in Indiana. Right now, we are only able to use the seed. We need to be able to use all parts of the hemp. One thing that I think we touched on last time is CBD, the cannabidiol, medicinal effects. It is not the THC.
Mm-hmm.
And, for example, we have 2 moms here in Indiana that have testified with us. One of them, I actually posted her child having a seizure at her request on the Facebook page a few weeks ago because Susan, Congresswoman Brooks, we were trying to talk to her, and so this woman wanted us to show her child having the seizure because CBD has been proven to minimize the seizure.
No
but
kidding.
It has, and Justin can speak much more eloquently than I on the research. It's phenomenal. But so many we know in Michigan, Colorado, they already have a strain. It's industrial hemp, and it meets that by having the 0.3 of cannabidiol. So. That will be the next legislation for Indiana that we need to work on. But for right now, the focus is getting our seed in the Indiana, both for seed purposes and for fiber. You mentioned soil, and I wanted to touch on that. We just went to the annual issues that are huge for them right now. 1, clean water and cleaning up our waterways and soil remediation. Well, and for us, we feel that is a perfect opportunity to look at hemp. For soil remediation, for so much of the waters. I grew up in Cicero, Morse Reservoir. I wouldn't swim in it now if I had to. I love it. Mm-hmm. But they said the levels of chemicals.
Things they use on us now, hemp down, there's nothing required to spray on it. You just basically just grow it, let it grow, and then cultivate.
I'm not going to say there will
way less.
Oh, absolutely.
No, okay.
We went to Kentucky for their pilot projects this summer. They put it in the ground after the rains because the DEA confiscated the seed days later than they were supposed to. Missed the rains. They put it in the ground and walked away. When Taylor and I went down to visit in August, it was 14 feet high into it. Not herbicide, not fertilizer,
whatsoever.
nothing.
Wow.
So
now the people at the DEA, they're not dumb.
There we go. They're both smiling. They want this one. There we go. All right, go ahead.
Who's paying them?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
foreign subsidies? I mean,
that's our belief. And that goes back to when the whole when he was put in to set up the DEA, how was he going to pay his salary?
Yeah, exactly.
He had to find a way to do that. So that's where it started. Hemp plants that we grew here legally for World War II specifically, and prior to that, they're still getting paid to eradicate those, or if so, it's very minimal. We've actually had some tested since we met with you, and the THC was much lower than even 3 tenths. Are supplementing that, but with this new spending bill that just passed, the DEA had been told to step back.
It is important as opposed to just being, understood.
Correct.
Wow.
Now, for the Indiana Hemp Associations, allow you guys to do anything, or is this only a state-by-state jurisdiction?
The farm bills, it's 7606 of the farm. Okay. I think there's like 18 states, including us. Depending upon that you are allowed to do these research projects. There are also 2 that would legalize industrial hemp across the board, the Industrial Hemp Farming Act.
So you wouldn't have to worry about the state actually.
Yes, forget about that, but I also support these pilot projects, and I think we all do to some extent because
you learn more.
You learn more, and
find out before you go on a mass
Purdue,
break here. We'll be right back on Mail Call.
We just had a caller that wants to know real quick the clothing website address. Give us that again, and we'll take a break.
RECREATOR.org.
There you go. We'll be right back.
This is Angela Martino, a business that carries a name with so much history in Kokomo. Martino's Italian Villa is a restaurant that remains true to the generation authentic old world Italian food with recipes that go back many generations of Italians. The Martino family creates, we make the sauce, we season the meat, and make every pizza, sandwich, and pasta dish fresh each day. From the soups, the salads, at Italian Villa, we have the dining room, the family room, and Martino's Lounge. And so many people come here for carry-out. Chances are the culture of Kokomo, as you are. We thank everyone who enjoys Martino's Italian Villa, 1929 North Washington Street.
On air, online, and in your pocket. Download the KI app at WWKI.com. WWKI Country for Life. You're listening to Mail Call on 100.5 WW.
Now look at you. Hey, baby, when I look at you.
Jamie and Justin here as well from the Indiana Hemp Industries Association. Another educational hour here today.
Hemp and how it can help the environment, but we're talking about saving tons and tons of money for the economy. I mean, you think about same family, yes, but even with some of the people that are legalizing, and I think what it is, it comes down to if they can find a way to make money off of it. It's always going to be a little, we'll see, let's go with what works, because obviously oil companies got their hands in everything. You got so many of these different people that are companies going, and the last thing they want to see is somebody else come in and bump their crop out with something that might actually help, but they're not going to make any money off of it. So, I mean, find out about this is to stay educated. So let them know some sources, some places they can find out to read and find out more about how this can actually help.
.org. You will get a lot of facts there and a lot of links as well to other sources. Our Facebook will hopefully go live in about 2 weeks. And that will be very helpful. We have events scheduled up through May and June. Tonight will soon be the Cents for Peace store. But fortune companies they understand the value of hemp. They understand what it can bring enough to host us there. We'll be there tonight. Come down, get your hands on some things, feel some things. You can taste it. You can see clothing. One of grasp so much. I want something in my hands. We have some industrial hemp farming and economics guides. You can see they're very thin. We'll have those available tonight. We've got another revision coming out, but this is a fabulous, easy place to go for facts. Also, what we really need is we need people to easily contact either via a form email or telephone our state representatives, whether it's on the state level, and the difference. We have great support from some, but as I stated, just in the last couple months, the letters that we've gotten back from a few legal to do this, they do not understand the difference between hemp and marijuana. So we are in the process of setting up meetings with those right now their knowledge and their support.
And in particular, farmers.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. After you left last time, my phone, Lily, I got several phones. How does that work? And I said, well, if you go to, when was that seminar? Because they kind of heard as they were driving or wherever they were at, or somebody called and said, hey, are you listening to this? Because there are people out there. A grain report, I met a bunch of people in Tipton. When I first got back here from out west, the grain report, I'm like, what is this? Overdorf's. And she says, there's two things we do. We don't talk during the national anthem or the grain report. And I thought, wow, you're the ones. Yes. And then that's the money. That's their livelihood. So to think about if it's going up this much down, maybe I'll wait till October or maybe I'll wait till August. So, it means a lot to them. Hemp may be a way to maybe help the soil if they've had, maybe some damage done over the last few years. Now let me ask you this. Had floods and the next year it was dry. How will that fluctuate the hemp? Can it grow pretty much any environment?
Hemp is a weed. It's been here since before we have. It can survive. Like I said, last year in Kentucky, they missed all the rain, and it flourished. Farmers that have the most acreage and they're interested are up in the Kankakee Valley. They're up around South Bend. So we're going to look at their soil and see project we'd like to check out.
Okay.
But so far, all indications are that, once again, it's a weed.
Pretty strong, huh?
So you're not going to worry as much.
More profitable than corn.
Canada nets $270 an acre right now for their grain. And if I'm Indiana, and we still are at around the $80. Now, I'm not sure I'm right on target with that. I know last year soybeans was
still substantially more interested in it. But however, now, timeline. Obviously it's in the early stages. Like you said, you're kind of a grassroots company right now, just trying to make wise. What's kind of what do you foresee in the 5-year, future here of do you think is that obtainable to be that quick? What does it depend on?
Being motivated to see the realistic change, positive change for economy and environment. But I think that we are on track with Ohio this year. I think that it's getting everybody on board, and change is always difficult. The real thing, we're pretty convinced. We know it's going to grow here. History, Indiana history, has proven that. It's a matter of putting in place. Is going to be the most difficult hurdle, the processing. That's why
I see.
And that's why we want to team with Kentucky and Ohio. And again, background here, there are right now factories sitting empty. That would be wonderful for whether it's the equipment. There's equipment that can just some of the things. And a reminder, while we're on the farming aspect, is Indiana Farm Bureau has already amended their policy. I think we discussed this last time at the American Farm Bureau conference this time last year, so that the American Farm Bureau amended their policy. The only reason that we haven't had more is that the farmers have so many problems with the EPA right now and with property tax issues. So if we can get them out of the way. Think about it. Indiana Farm Bureau amended their policy for this.
Which means they're getting it.
That's correct. Take that on board. We went, like I said, we were at the conference a couple weeks ago, and I went and expected negativity of some sort. It was amazing. The focus was.
Any state in the union, Jamie, that legally can grow hemp?
Colorado they're past their pilot project stage, right? So yeah, Vermont and Kentucky did have it. But those, Kentucky and Vermont specifically, were under pilot projects. But yeah, there's 18.
Moreover, basically you guys are importing it from other places, Canada, China, and other places like that, to bring it in and use it. Now, some of the things that I like, like we were talking about car manufacturing. This is a big car town. We got Chrysler, GM around here, and obviously everyone has a car. So it's like the fibers in the door to keep them stronger.
Yes, and there is a company up in Elkhart that uses natural fibers.
Somewhat close, yeah.
Right, FlexForm. Cars are on the road right now that have hemp composite in them. It's the door panels, it's the dash.
As opposed to fiberglass or things like that.
We're getting a lot closer to a hemp vehicle. There's in Australia, I think it's University of Sydney or building for research purposes a hemp vehicle because they're finding, again, better for the environment, better for the economy, but more. I look at Kokomo, City of Firsts. Where was the first vehicle?
Right here. Yeah.
Right here. And so surrounded by autographs.
And a lot of the farming community as well. So the whole deal can happen right in places like this, where start to finish. So I'll tell you what, we're going to take another break back.
At Quality Outdoor Power, we know equipment. We're ready for the cold winter ahead. For a single-stage snow blower for only $449, or a two-stage snow blower for only $799. We have low interest rates with local showroom at 1947 South Elizabeth Street in Kokomo. Call 450-6819. Quality outdoor power.
Hi, little extra room in your garage this winter? Call us for our winter service and storage special. Push mowers starting at $99.95, riders starting at $1. Come and see us today.
Quality outdoor power knows equipment. Visit our showroom at 1947 South Elizabeth Street in Kokomo. Call 450
on 100.5 WWKI and online at WWKI.com.
It's the Friday Mail Call with our special guests here, Jamie and Justin, this morning. Guys, has there been any research done?
Good.
Yes, there is. And, in fact, one of the researchers at Purdue, that is one of the things he most wants to do, their hemp seed to press. I mean, initially, it's going to be a more expensive process.
Yeah.
Because it's new, and we're
cars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to have to pull up instead of getting gas, you got to plug in. You know, it's going to take a while before there's even stations to provide stuff like that. However, an idea with the hybrid cars, you wouldn't think a lot of the things they have now, from half battery, half fuel, and when to shut off and on, you know. So if they can work something out to save
It's not very profitable at all, from what I understand.
That's my understanding. And
Yeah.
I think there's issues with subsidies and so forth, but a vehicle that will run on hemp oil that they can use for educational and outreach issues, and they want it to be able to run distance. So it's not like it can't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know there's a lot of uses for it. And once again, let's go ahead and reiterate the fact that, marijuana not today. That's a whole different issue, a whole different show, a whole different program. But today, all the different uses, 50,000 to be exact. I mean, right around that number. Well, it's almost inevitable. Once they start, if you weigh and balance how inexpensive it is to cultivate and grow, as opposed to people have got to stop associating it with getting high.
And they need to be, we need to realize that it's like it doesn't mean it should not happen. We need to just keep pushing forward. And that's for me, that's where Recreator, to be honest, that's how, in fact, when they first started talking about everything, I was the same. I mean, I knew there was a difference, but I thought, we're just talking about marijuana and voting both for years. And they haven't had any luck. I think that the time was right, and then people are listening. They're taking note that it's a plant. It's natural. And for us, I'm learning more and more what it can do. So would you rather put something saying?
Yeah, exactly. Well, like I said, it's that time we got to start thinking green. I mean, we're going to run out of things sooner or later, and it's happening. We're seeing it, all the effects, and all run down how they can contact you, any things you have going on in the events. Obviously, tonight you'll be at First Friday.
That's correct.
So folks are going to be out and
Friday.
about, but you let them know how.
Jamie, Jamie, at inhia.org, especially farmers right now. If you have any interest, you need to get in touch with me. Before, obviously, you can check out their apparel. They have some great T-shirts and different ways to advocate, but they also have, you will see how they use art as a huge part of their advocacy program. So, Justin and them have worked very hard. They're still doing live on our website, but for right now, Facebook, Indiana Hemp Industries Association on Facebook, and also on Pinterest. The thing about Pinterest, for those of you who are materials there. So, for example, there's a congressional report dated 2013 that does nothing but show or informational or quick facts.
Now, if you farmers band together, you might be able to get this thing changed and be on the ground floor.
Making people aware of it, because that's kind of the stop sticks for when you say hemp, people think weed. And they think marijuana. Well, that's two totally different haul. One helps, kind of helps, but anyway. But it just kind of depends on the other association. But, we thank you guys for coming. Other information you want to pass along? Anything you want to let us know?
I was going to say, when you get your website up, will people be able to buy products?
Yes, absolutely. We'll have some things there right now, and you haven't added that to your diet yet. Locally, you could check out Sunspot, but for me, I encourage everybody to go straight to Foods Alive, and most of their hemp is organic. You can get protein powder, you can get the seeds, and so forth. So I encourage that. There's also many other out there. There's Nativa, Manitoba places. I actually can get them at my Kroger. I can get some, not a lot. Hemp milk, I can buy at my Kroger. So I'd give them a try. But again, tonight, if you want to use I use it for smoothies.
There's a hemp lotion I used to use too.
Hempies, probably from most of the tanning beds carry it.
Yeah, I've seen that before, but like I said, 50,000 uses. It's got to be.
It's amazing.
Something's got to break through sooner or later, and we appreciate what like I said. You got any questions, folks? First Friday, go out there. I can see the informational, pamphlet she has here. Maybe help out, and farmers, for some of you who are maybe something you might want to look into.
And it's low maintenance too. I mean, you don't have to like go out and spray it or
Well,
water it.
That's, like she said, the EPA, everything like he said from the cotton and being, non-allergen. I mean, as far as I have an aunt, she gets anywhere near a certain type of clothing or anything, she's got to rub herself daily with, something to keep that from happening. So just so many different uses. I think that it's almost like I said, a no-brainer. It's just a waste on your effort and your fight. And I hope you get, hope you get where you need to be.
And we like when Jamie comes in too, because she always brings us stuff.
Yes, she does. She brings goodies. She brings gifts.
And they're full of fiber too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Well, Nick came in to try the seeds. He goes, and then by like noon that day, I walked in. It was all gone.
Oh, the seeds. I still got a few seeds left.
Oh, yeah, everybody came in to check everything.
I misplaced them, so I still have a few.
Back and
I
helping us
find
educate
it very
everyone.
interesting, and I think, like I said, anything that's, just because it's new, it's the fear of the unknown. It's the cycle of life. People, hey, they either love it or you don't. One of the things.
And when this law gets changed, I want 10% of the first year profits.
So do I.
Yeah, I want a whole clothing.
Justin had, he had sold me on their material anyway, but I have a shirt that I used to wear to work out in all the time, and I didn't think it smells like it did when I worked out within a matter of minutes. Regular cotton shirt. You won't get that with the hemp shirt.
Ah, yeah.
They're expanding, and that's one of the benefits. His dad actually wore one for like 10 days. Didn't wash it, would wear it and do work in it.
But for the band shirts, maybe I'll look into that. We can do that because my guys sweat like pigs up there playing. That ride home's always like, woo! And I believe she's posting on there any information you may need.
I am. Yep. A link to their Facebook site is on our social media site as
You can always get it all over the place.
And Hank Conroy Jr. III isn't really impressed with my husband's karaoke skills. He was tweeting at me about that.
Picture, no.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was funny because he was doing karaoke New Year's Eve, and he was like, Lindsay made me sing this song, and then the neighbor's like, then why do you know every single word?
Yeah, we have a couple very interesting listeners that chime in now and then, so I'm surprised actually we didn't hear from them today, but you know what, folks, we do have about 5 more minutes left. 1-800-444-WWKI, or throughout the day, if there's something you heard on here that you would like more information, give us a call, and if you guys would like, maybe give how they can contact you, because I'll tell you what, folks, these shirts, now I've run into a couple of these before. That green one you brought last time, my wife wears it all the time. She'll come home, I have actually, from our sponsor, we get shirts that are like soft like that material, but not quite as soft as this. So, folks, I'm telling you, it's really, and the kind of the theme is sow the seeds. But tell us a little bit. Okay, right here it is. Explore at recreator.org. Think you want to throw out there?
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook at Recreator LA, and then on our other social media handles like Twitter, we're at Sow the Seeds.
Okay, we're gonna be out and about, running around at the gun show and all that. What you got over there, Kev?
We got a caller.
Okay, here we
David's on the line from Fairmount this morning. Hi, David.
How they harvest the hemp. I know what hemp is.
Yeah.
And how long does the bricks last out in the weather before they...
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
There's 2 different forms of harvesting. You have the seed, and they use a draper head. That we have is you need to go really slow because the stalk is so much tougher and so much stronger. So in Canada or in China, frankly, I think they still do it manually pretty much. But there is a machine called a decorticator, which my dream. And they have a couple in Australia. There's also a company, I think out of Manitoba or Alberta, they've got a mobile one that they're looking at. As best as I can explain it, strips. It goes through, you cut the stalk, and then it strips, because as we talked before, you have the understand.
The last question he had was the brick. How long does it take for the bricks before they deteriorate because of the...
I have heard, the pit, they're not affected by water, moisture, humidity.
So like building a home or an installation, because I know we out west, I learned a lot about adobe.
Right.
It's a fiber, same type of, there's brick here, there's a lot of wood, a lot of brick, things like that. But to build a home out of this, I guess that's what they're saying. How sturdy is this going to be? Is this going to be something to last?
All indications are, and also part of it, you've got to remember, there's very little chemical. It's natural. There's very little chemical included. The UK have built out of it. Okay. And again, we have some here in the States, and by all indications, they breathe. They are strong.
Durable.
There's no indications. Like, I was concerned about humidity because of the way the hempcrete, I thought maybe humidity.
It looked like it might absorb a little bit more than that.
The facility is successful, so.
Oh, well, like I said, you learn something every day here on Mail Call. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Once again, it's Jamie and Justin from the Indiana Hemp Industry. Keep in mind that if you're just tuning in this podcast, you can podcast this a little bit later on WWKI.com, and we also are on iTunes as well. So if you get in, and folks, it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. I didn't get a day off this week, but I know for New Year's it's going to be a little chilly out there. Spring from a karaoke hangover over here.
no hangover
No.
at all.
No, actually, I honestly had every intention of not something that I haven't had before, and it had I felt like somebody hit me in the forehead with a mallet. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much how I'm going to put it.
Couldn't live like that.
Here we go.